There is a secret known by the monks who sleep beneath stars, by sages who sit in wind-carved caves. They whisper of women who are not chosen by men, but chosen by the heavens. Not every woman is born favored, but some are marked by the divine. And when these sacred signs appear, you do not chase love or success. They are summoned to you. Stay until the end, because what you will hear in the final words of this prophecy may reveal your fate. And no woman who knows her divine season will ever move the same again. There is a truth that has long been known to those who walk in silence and listen with more than their ears. It is whispered not in words, in the movements of clouds, the stillness between heartbeats, and the rhythm of falling leaves. Some truths arrive not with force, but with a feather's touch, subtle, almost imperceptible, yet transformative to those who are awake. The first of these truths is that intuition is not merely a feeling, it is the voice of the divine trying to speak through the softest part of you. When a woman is truly favored by God, she is not only protected externally, she is gifted internally with a sacred compass. Intuition is not imagination. It is remembrance. It is the soul recalling what the mind has forgotten. In the still chambers of the spirit, intuition knocks gently. It does not scream, and that is why the world often misses it, because it listens for thunder, not for the whisper of light. There is a parable told among the silent ones. A young monk asked his master, "How will I know when danger is near if I cannot see it?" The master pointed to the bamboo forest swaying quietly in the breeze and said, "The wind cannot be seen, but the bamboo moves. Learn to watch the movement, not the source." Intuition is like the bamboo, bends when the wind of truth passes through your life. You may not know where it comes from, but you will know it has passed. A woman favored by the divine will often experience this as a sudden stillness, a pause in conversation where her soul tugs at her, a flash of unease before entering a room, a sense of timing that makes her leave moments before a storm begins. These are not coincidences. These are signals. In the animal kingdom, the deer senses the predator before it hears it. The bird flies higher just before the wave crashes. Is that instinct? Or is it the same sacred intelligence that flows through all things, reaching even you in the quietest moments of your day, when your chest tightens and your heart whispers, "Wait, listen"? When the words feel right but something inside says, "Not yet, trust it." When the world pushes you forward but your soul steps back, honor that sacred resistance. For intuition is the only language God speaks without sound. There once lived a woman who ignored her intuition for years. She stayed in places where her spirit shrank. She silenced the voice that said, "You're not safe here," because she feared being alone. In that silence, her life unraveled slowly. But the moment she began to honor the still voice within, even when it defied logic, even when it made her seem irrational or overly sensitive, her life began to return to her. And with it, her power. A monk once said, "The heart that knows does not shout. It listens, and in that listening, it sees what eyes do not." If you are favored by God, you will not need external validation for your knowing. You will feel it as a quiet certainty. And though the world may call you strange or stubborn, heaven will call you aligned. Do not mistake noise for truth. Truth is still, and intuition is the still voice of a timeless guide who walks beside you unseen. As you breathe now, notice, has your intuition been speaking lately? Have you dismissed it as worry, fear, or imagination? Remember this: what is divine never forces. It invites, and when it invites you inward, that is your map. That is your home. Now let us walk slowly into the next valley of this journey, the one where time itself becomes a messenger. Divine timing is not about when you are ready. It is about when everything else is. A woman favored by God does not force seasons to change. She learns to read the sky. She learns to wait when waiting is sacred. She learns to act when the door opens not only before her, but within her. There is a rhythm in the universe that cannot be seen, only felt. Some call it coincidence. Others call it fate. But those who are attuned know it as the sacred clockwork. The hidden dance of timing that aligns you with people, places, and events not by chance, but by orchestration. There is a quiet story told among the old temples. A student asks the sage, "Why do my prayers go unanswered?" The sage replied, "A seed buried in winter asks the same question. But if it were to bloom too soon, the frost would kill it. It is not the seed that is unworthy, but the season that is not yet warm." So many women cry out for answers, for love, purpose, unaware that the answer has already been sent. It simply travels on a slower wind. If the fruit is sweet before its time, spoils. If the rain comes before the soil is ready, it washes everything away. But if it comes at the appointed hour, births life. This is the nature of divine timing. It is not your schedule. It is heaven's. And heaven has not forgotten you. There are moments in time that act as sacred doors. Between the 9th and 12th, as spoken earlier, energy begins to stir in unseen places. These are the days when the ground softens, when the veil between thought and manifestation begins to thin. If during this time you feel a shift in your dreams, an ache for something undefined, a pulling toward silence or clarity, do not ignore it. This is the soul's alarm clock, not of urgency, but of awakening. Real life echoes this often. The woman who is offered a job she once desired, only to find, upon deeper reflection, that it no longer matches the woman she's become. The mother who prays for peace, and just as her patience wears thin, finds an hour of unexpected stillness when the children sleep early. The moment you think all is lost, and yet a quiet message arrives, a hand reaches out, an idea blooms. These are not mere happenings. These are the signs that the gears of divine timing are in motion. One ancient saying murmurs through the stones of forgotten monasteries. When the bell is struck before the hour, the mountain remains silent. But when it rings at its time, even the birds bow. A woman favored by God learns to honor not just the what, but the when. She does not chase, she aligns. She does not demand, she prepares. She does not beg the fruit to ripen. She waters her spirit and waits for the sun to shift. And when that shift comes, she is ready, because timing in the divine sense is not luck. It is recognition. Recognition that the moment has arrived not just around you, but inside you. As you sit with these words, you may feel the call to reflect. What have you been rushing? Where have you been waiting, not in trust, but in anxiety? Can you feel the pull of the moment, inviting you to prepare, not to panic? The river does not question how long it will take to reach the sea. Simply flows. It trusts the bends, the rocks, the stillness. And in time, it arrives. You are that river. Trust your pace. Trust the delays. Trust that what is yours cannot be taken, and what is not cannot be forced. Intuition is your compass. Timing is your terrain. When both align, miracles are no longer rare, they are natural. The journey continues, quietly, steadily, as it always has. Breathe and listen. You are not behind. You are being positioned. And the hand that guides you is more ancient than fear, more gentle than fate, and more precise than the ticking of any clock. There is a sacred truth, rarely spoken, yet deeply known by those who have walked the harder paths. The woman favored by God is not spared the fire. She is refined by it. She is not crowned in comfort, but chosen through her trials. For every soul marked by divine favor, there comes a season of testing, where the heavens seem silent and the earth beneath begins to shake. This is not abandonment, it is preparation. It is the slow and holy chisel that shapes her for what her spirit was created to carry. When you are favored, your life does not follow the patterns of those around you. You will not be allowed to settle for imitation happiness or shallow victories. Instead, the divine will allow certain things to fall apart, not to punish you, but to prepare you for something far greater. What appears as delay is sometimes disguise. What seems like loss is often a clearing, and what feels like rejection is heaven's redirection. A story is told in the quiet halls of the monastery about a stone in the river. A student asked his master, "Why do I face more hardship than others? Why does the world seem softer on those who care less?" The master took him to the river and pointed to a stone that had been smoothed by the current. "This stone," he said, "was not destroyed by the water. It was shaped by it. The harder the current, the smoother the surface. So too, the soul is shaped by the strength of what it endures. This is the trial of the chosen. The woman who is being prepared for sacred purpose will first be stripped of what is false, false relationships, false identity, false comfort. And in that stripping, she will find not emptiness but truth. In nature, the butterfly does not emerge until the caterpillar has dissolved completely. There is no partial transformation. There is only the full surrender of what was into what will be. And so too is the journey of a favored woman. She must surrender the life she planned so the life divinely designed for her can take shape. Often, her trials come in the form of betrayals that awaken her discernment, losses that ignite her inner wisdom, delays that force her into stillness, where she begins to hear not the noise of the world, but the voice of God. In this wilderness, she learns not to beg for mercy, but to embody grace. Now ask, "Why me?" but to whisper, "Make me ready." There is a lesser known saying from the mystic El Nuri: "The fire that consumes others illuminates the friends of God." This is why she cannot be destroyed. The fire, though hot, does not burn her. It reveals the gold beneath her skin. Consider a woman in daily life who, after years in a relationship that dulled her spirit, was suddenly abandoned. At first, the grief silenced her. But in the silence, she began to listen. She picked up forgotten parts of herself, her voice, her creativity, her strength. What appeared as heartbreak was initiation. What seemed like an ending was, in truth, a beginning. And years later, not only had she healed, she had risen into a version of herself that never would have emerged had she not been broken open. This is the trial of the favored, not because she is weak, but because she is strong enough to carry what is sacred. And so she is tested, not once, but cyclically, each time rising higher, purer, truer. The woman favored by God learns not to fear the flame. She walks through it, knowing it does not seek to destroy, but to reveal what no eye has yet seen. As we move gently onward, another veil begins to lift. The universe, in its infinite rhythm, turns again. And now we enter the space where hidden patterns reveal themselves, where the illusions we once clung to shatter like glass under light. This is the moment when the mirror breaks, and the woman favored by God must face her reflection not as she imagined, but as she truly is. This is the phase of sacred confrontation. There is a parable from the mountain temple where a monk placed a mirror in front of each student during meditation. One student wept, another turned away. A third smashed the mirror, only one sat still. The master asked, "Why did you not look away?" The student replied, "Because I knew the mirror was not here to shame me, but to show me what I had forgotten." And so it is in the journey of divine favor. Between the 13th and 15th of a sacred month, there is often a wave of emotional intensity, confusion, or internal confrontation. It may come as a conversation that pierces the heart, a memory that refuses to stay buried, a truth that no longer allows you to live in pretense. is not chaos. This is a cosmic invitation to clarity. When the mirror breaks, it is not to wound you. It is to liberate you from the lie you built your peace upon. Imagine a woman who has always been seen as gentle, agreeable, pleasing. She avoids conflict, keeps harmony, and never allows her anger to rise. But one day, she wakes with a fire in her chest. A situation pushes her beyond her silence. And for the first time, she speaks. Not from bitterness, but from truth. In that moment, she does not become someone else. She returns to who she truly is. The breaking of illusion is painful, but necessary. It removes the masks placed on us by family, culture, fear, or our own longing to belong. When you are favored by God, you are not allowed to stay hidden. The divine will break every false mirror so you may see clearly and walk freely. A lesser quoted verse from the Dhammapada says, "As a silversmith blows away the impurities of silver, so the wise one removes the faults of self little by little." This is not a quick undoing. It is a gentle, sacred dismantling. Each fragment of illusion removed reveals another layer of strength beneath. And as you let go of what is not yours, expectations, labels, fears, you begin to feel the immense peace of simply being aligned. Look at nature once more. The snake does not mourn its old skin. The tree does not cling to dead leaves. And the sky does not apologize for changing. So too, the woman walking with divine favor must learn to release who she thought she had to be, to become who she was always meant to be. This transformation is not for others to understand. It is not a performance. It is a returning, a sacred unraveling that reveals the original self, untouched by the noise of the world. You may cry during this process. You may feel lost. You may feel raw and uncertain. But know this, your tears are the river washing you clean. Your uncertainty is the space where something higher can now take form. And when the mirror has shattered, when the illusions fall, and you are left with nothing but your breath and your bare soul, you will not find emptiness. You will find freedom. So breathe now, feel the weight lift, feel the truth settle. You are not falling apart. You are falling into alignment. This is the middle path, the sacred breaking, and you, beloved soul, are being remembered by heaven. Let us continue walking one step deeper into the quiet, one step closer to the self that has always been waiting. Every woman favored by God must be willing to lose what is false in order to find what is eternal. And in doing so, she will never be the same again, nor should she be. There are moments in a woman's life when everything around her appears to tremble, relationships strain, certainties blur, silence deepens, and yet within her something extraordinary happens. She does not fall. She remains like a mountain in a gathering storm, unmoved not because she is untouched, but because she has found her center. This stillness in chaos is not an accident, it is a sign. When a woman is truly favored by the divine, she becomes the eye within the storm, a place of clarity while the winds rage around her. She is not spared difficulty. She is given the grace to endure with dignity and depth. This is the nature of spiritual grounding. When others panic, she breathes. When the world shouts, she listens. And when the ground shakes, she stands, not in arrogance, but in alignment. Parable from the Zen tradition tells of an old monk and his disciple caught in a sudden mountain storm. The disciple cried out, "Master, the winds are too strong, the path is too steep. How will we survive?" The master smiled and said, "Be like the stone under our feet. Let the wind pass over you. Do not chase it. Do not fight it. Just remain." The favored woman learns this lesson through the trials life sends her. Mid-month, between the 16th and 18th, she may feel as though the ground shifts beneath her. Unexpected news, emotional waves, sudden conflict or endings. These are not punishments. They are sacred pressure points. Points that test the strength of her spiritual spine. but unlike before, she does not crumble. Because this time, she has been prepared in silence. In nature, the bamboo appears fragile, slender, soft, but when the typhoon comes, it bends and does not break. The great oaks fall, but the bamboo endures. Why? Because it is rooted deeply and knows how to yield without surrendering its soul. So too is the favored woman. You may see her walking into a room where tension hangs like smoke, and yet her presence calms it. You may notice her at the center of a family crisis, offering few words, but anchoring everyone with her energy alone. She does not rush to fix, nor does she feed the fire. She becomes the water. This is not weakness, it is mastery. A saying often hidden in Buddhist scrolls reads, "The still mind in the storm is the temple where the gods return." Stillness in a time of turmoil is not natural to most. It must be cultivated. It must be earned through repeated descent into difficulty and returning again and again with more clarity and less noise. Over time, the woman favored by the divine becomes not reactive, but responsive, not controlled by fear, moved by wisdom. You may think of a single mother overwhelmed by circumstance, bills mounting, uncertainties pressing against her chest, and yet she rises before dawn, prepares breakfast, smiles at her child, takes a deep breath and meets the day, not because she has no fear, because her faith has learned to walk taller than it. These are the invisible victories, the unseen sacredness, and the heavens see them. The woman who survives her storms with grace becomes the shelter for others. Her stillness teaches, her quiet strength ministers. Her survival is not just for herself, it is for those she will one day lift. So if you find yourself in the midst of a shaking, do not curse the wind. Let it pass through you. Let it find no fear to cling to. And when it is done, you will still be standing, and something ancient within you will have deepened. Now, as the clouds begin to part, the path ahead changes once again. The winds quiet, not because the world is done testing you, but because something has shifted inside you and heaven has taken notice. There is a turning point in the journey of the favored where the internal world expands beyond the limits of old stories. This is when the wind begins to blow in your favor. This is the shift, the moment the tide changes, and those who once overlooked you begin to see you through new eyes. The woman favored by the divine will often feel this shift between the 21st and 23rd, subtle at first, like the change in scent before rain, or the warmth that touches the skin moments before the sun breaks through the clouds. It is a moment when the energy around you changes, not dramatically, but decisively. A call comes, a door reopens. Compliment that once would have felt foreign now fits like truth. But more than anything outside, it is what changes within that marks the shift. You are no longer striving. You are attracting, not through effort but alignment. There is a story told of a young woman who chased a flame for years, a career, a relationship, a dream. She ran, begged, bent herself to fit into spaces too small for her soul, until one day she stopped. She sat beneath a tree and wept, not in weakness, but in surrender. Days passed, she did nothing but breathe, but when she rose, the flame that once fled from her came to her feet. The master later said to her, "You did not change the fire, you changed your own wind," and the fire followed. So it is with the shift. You stop chasing what is not yours, and what is begins to find you. Real life whispers this in countless ways. The woman who stops pursuing a man who never saw her, and months later, he returns drawn not to her need, but to her peace. The woman who gives up the endless search for status and in her quiet confidence becomes the one everyone wants to learn from. The woman who no longer lowers her voice in rooms and suddenly people begin to listen. It is never about being seen by the world. It is about seeing yourself so clearly that the world cannot help but adjust its vision. There is a lesser-known verse from the mystic poet Mahadeviyaka. One I dropped the longing. The Lord of longing came to dwell in me. This shift in the wind is not luck, it is return. A return to what was always yours. Peace, presence, worth, and once you return to yourself, all that is aligned returns with you. You may feel this shift in small moments. A sudden inner calm in a place that once brought anxiety. A conversation that once triggered you now passes like harmless wind. A compliment that once felt like water on stone now seeps deep into your being. This is not ego. This is embodiment. And the woman who embodies herself fully becomes a force of gravity. She no longer seeks light, she becomes it. So pause here. Breathe. Can you feel the shift approaching? Can you feel the wind turning in your favor? Not because the world changed, but because you did. Stand tall now, not because you have something to prove, but because you have finally remembered you are favored. And it is time. Let your silence speak. Let your stillness lead. Let your energy walk before you into every room. You are not who you were, and the world is beginning to notice. Let it. Not every month carries the same weight. Some months, some moments, hold keys to destinies written in the stars long before your birth. If you have heard these signs and they echoed in your soul, it is not coincidence. It is calling. Prepare, align, listen. And above all, remember, a woman favored by God is not loud, but the heavens roar in her silence. May this month bring you clarity. May your steps align with the sacred wind. And may your soul remember what it came here to do. The scroll closes, the wind quiets. But within you, something ancient has awakened.